Call of Duty is easily one of the most popular video game franchises ever, and despite how much this game sells yearly, why does it seem like no one likes it anymore? Think about when was the last time you cared about Call of Duty. Maybe it was Black Ops 6 release, or one of the new Zombies maps, or maybe you're excited right now for the return of Verdansk. Oh. Regardless, I love Call of Duty so much, but nowadays it's just dumb fun to me and nothing more. I'm going to start with the smallest problems and end with the biggest, and the first thing we'll be covering is gameplay. To start positively, I actually love Black Ops 6's gameplay. Multiplayer wise, this game feels like Cold War with Omni movement, which I love. Omni movement is going to be one of those things that COD will never revert from, like sliding, and it's just such a big innovation that it almost makes the older games feel outdated. Overall, the movement is great, besides the always dreadful tac sprint, and I don't understand why they insist on putting this in every Call of Duty. I don't understand the purpose of it. It's pretty much always better to tac sprint just because it's faster, and regular sprinting is almost pointless, that there's almost no variation between the two. Speaking of things that Call of Duty just refuses to remove, we have the gunsmith. Now this one might be a little controversial, so let me know if you agree in the comments, but I hate the gunsmith. It just feels like they took a good system in the older games attachments and they just made it complicated for no reason. There's no real customizability. It's fake. I would guarantee the majority of players just use a website or a YouTube video to find the right attachments to use. Other than those two things, the gunplay feels very nice. The time to kill, I feel like, is perfect in multiplayer. And in Warzone, even with the extra health, it still just feels like everything kills right when it should. I don't think gameplay is a real issue, but something I do think is an issue is the community. The Call of Duty community is a very large community. There are still a ton of people that play the game often and consume content about it on the daily. Despite this, it still just somehow feels hollow. Game chat is as dead as it's ever been for a variety of reasons, and something that definitely isn't helping it is the moderation in game chat. Moderating voice chat is just not a viable thing to do for a game as big as Call of Duty. They use AI to try to detect harassment and bullying, but in the end, it just leads to a lot of bans for pointless reasons. There's a reason online play isn't moderated by the ESRB, and I feel like people should just be allowed to talk shit in game chat. Nowadays, most of the talk around Call of Duty is negative. People complain about the state of the game because Activision is just too lazy or they don't care to fix things. Hacking was such a huge issue that they had to add a toggle crossplay option back to ranked play, and it was ridiculous to remove it in the first place. The community rightfully complains about things all the time, and it just leads to all of the fringe fans jumping ship to play other games that people don't hate. It's really not that hard to keep the COD community happy, and somehow Activision always manages to fuck it up. In essence, the community is dead because of Activision. Activision is possibly the worst game publisher out there. Their greed knows no end. $70 a year is not enough for them. They need to put out constant bundles and battle passes also. It wouldn't be a problem if this was the only way they made their money, but the original Warzone player base is mostly gone at this point, so the only people actually wanting to buy these cosmetics are mainly multiplayer players. The worst part about it is I think Activision can so easily get in the good graces of their player base again if they just stop being greedy for 1 minute. Call of Duty would be in a much better spot if they just abandoned Warzone altogether at this point, and according to reports, Activision is finally starting to realize this themselves. I still think the best way for Call of Duty to make a comeback that lasts for more than the first 3 weeks of a yearly release would be to just make it free. They should put all their resources into a free multiplayer game that gets constantly updated. Something similar to COD Mobile, except for all platforms. Their player base would grow insanely large, and I have to imagine they're already thinking about it considering they put Black Ops 6 on Game Pass on release. But if I'm being realistic, Activision will not change anything until Call of Duty is fully dead. They just make too much money and they don't care about keeping their consumers happy. They can't even be bothered to spend this money on actual artists or voice actors anymore. They want to cut corners anywhere they can for a little extra money. Their continued use of AI is going to hurt their branding, and it's probably going to hurt the gaming industry as a whole too. Activision really has to get their shit together because eventually one of these yearly releases is not going to save them. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
There's one on the road. Oh, is that game?
There's none I can do.
Yeah, it wasn't fucking letting me spectate you guys. Oh man, I'm mad.
Hey, it's a good first game.
Yeah, I'll take 17 kills.